because I know for certain, like, if in a crowd of 20 to 30 people, you say, I rape people on the regular, that's not gonna go well for you. I can't help but think you made up that story.
Oh, all right. Thanks for your honesty. I appreciate that. I was speaking at the University of Arizona, and I made some real attacks on rape. And I said it's embarrassing to look at the statistics on how many women in university get raped, how evil. Guy raises his hand and says, I date rape. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. How on earth do you justify that? And he says, very simple. I have a high testosterone level. And I said, well, sir, like it or not, that's really evil. That is totally dehumanizing a woman. I couldn't believe he was so honest, but I found it refreshing. All you gotta do is look at the statistics, guys. An incredible number of young women are raped, and it's sick, it's evil, and the reason it's evil is not because I'm a nice white guy. It's evil because God created women and men in his image. He created our sexuality for a purpose, and that purpose is not to rape, not to date rape, but to learn to control yourself and to make a lifelong commitment to one person and enjoy sex within the context of a heterosexual marriage. Thanks for raising that. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. That's a completely unbelievable story for the pure fact of, like, somebody raising their hand and saying, I raped someone, and didn't either immediately get jumped or reported to the police or anything of that nature. That's just a completely implausible story to me, because I know for certain, like, if in a crowd of 20 to 30 people, you say, I rape people on the regular, that's not gonna go well for you. I can't help but think you made up that story.
Oh, all right. Thanks for your honesty. I appreciate that. I promise you, sir, the guy raised his hand. He didn't say I rape people. He said, I have date raped and I support date rape. That's what he said.
What's the difference?
That's
At the University of Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, several years ago. That happened. And I can promise you, sir, I would think if you were out here on Monday, the way a couple of students treated me, that you would understand that that is not so implausible. When I have a guy standing right here, waving his backside in my face, that's pretty outrageous.
We're asking, were there any repercussions?
Like for him saying that he rapes people on the regular?
He didn't say I rape people on the regular. He said I've done date rape.
That is rape.
Okay, define date rape
just
then,
rape.
because it sounds like you think that they're different things.
That is just
Yes,
rape.
they are different in a person's mind. A person will use the phrase date rape to justify their evil. The same way a person will use eugenics to justify wiping out Jews.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what the Nazis
Date
did.
rape is drugging someone to rape them. That is
He
rape.
literally admitted to rape.
Yes.
And nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
I can't.
That's not possible. I mean,
Well, then you're living in fantasy, ma'am.
No,
and
I
sir.
think you were living.
No. He said it flat out. And I can promise you, for you to say what you say right now, and to think that you don't judge, would be a joke.
I judge someone who rapes people, yes.
No. You made a judgment call about me lying. That is amazing that you would be that judgmental. Incredible. You weren't there. I was at the University of Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona, and the guy said it flat out. And for you to say, I'm lying, wow, where do you get off accusing me of lying when you don't have the faintest idea what the guy said? And by the way, I also used to live in South Boston, and I also used to confront white racists. And I can promise you those white racists in South Boston said a lot of really trashy things. And I also was almost beaten up and and almost got bricks hitting me in the head in South Boston because I stood against racism. And I can promise you, 100 years ago, if that student on Monday would have done to somebody what he did to me, he'd have been in trouble. He's not in trouble today, but he would have been in trouble. Culture does change, doesn't it? What's acceptable and what's unacceptable in a culture changes.
So you saying that him saying that he date rapes, are you saying that that's acceptable? Is that what you're saying?
How on earth, in light of the fact that I just said that was absolutely evil, I confronted the guy and I said, sir, what you did was evil, in spite of the fact that you have a high testosterone level.
But you did nothing about it.
You didn't report him to the police?
You say it's evil, but you do nothing about
He just admitted verbally to raping someone. That is grounds to go to the police and say, hey, this student, take a picture of him, because you can do that, free nation. Take a picture of him and be like, this student on the University of Arizona campus
right,
told me he raped someone,
Yeah.
and that he partakes in date rape. You didn't go to the police and at least give them a description of the guy.
No, I did not.
So you're part of the problem then. You're just allowing
The
it to
police
happen.
were already there. The security was already there, and the security chose to do nothing. It's a free speech area. We were having a dialogue, and the police chose to do nothing. But they were there, same way security's been around here. Security's been around here, and they don't stop people from saying what they say, okay?
Why does it seem that hypocrites are more relevant in society today, or at least more obvious than those who are not hypocrites?
Because you haven't watched carefully enough all the humble followers of Christ on this campus who serve the poor, feed the hungry, just the way Jesus did. You don't need me to tell you about Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. Go out and watch the movie, Harriet Tubman, produced in 2019, about a black slave who escaped slavery, and then due to her faith in Christ, she went back south. She went back and rescued hundreds of slaves from slavery because of her faith in Christ. Come on, wake up, you guys. Smell the coffee. There are followers of Christ all around who are doing incredible deeds in obedience to Jesus Christ.
But my point, I think, maybe, and a lot of people hold this belief, like, what can we do about this hypocritical Christianity? Because it seems to be a pretty big problem that seems to be impacting a lot of people's lives in a real negative way.
Yeah.
And so, as somebody who's, like, having this platform and really, like, talking about, you know, how great Jesus is, I respect that. I 100% respect you for that, and I respect you to have that belief. But I think that you've got to recognize that whenever other people hear that, they're expecting you to turn around and acknowledge, like, okay, but here's the work that we got to do, okay? Here's all the kids that keep getting diddled, and this is what we're going to do about it, okay? Here's the all the homophobia that happens. Here's what we're going to do about that, you know? I think that that's what people want to hear.
Good. I am convinced that the ultimate solution to America's problem is not going to occur on Tuesday. And it's not going to occur in 2024 either. I'm saying the ultimate solution to America's problems is Jesus Christ, not a political agenda. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat.
Why did God allow Hitler to kill 6 million Jews in Germany? Why does God let normal, healthy, innocent children die of natural disasters and severe diseases and war?
Ultimately,
Doesn't this prove that God is disinterested in human affairs? And if he is disinterested in human affairs, why would anybody worship him?
when God became a human being, what happened to him? Okay, now he's a classic example of what I'm talking about. He asked a very hard, very serious question, and before he even allowed me to answer, he walked away. Is that being open-minded? No, he didn't ask a question. He made a point. But he disguised it in the form of a question. That is intellectual dishonesty.
So
I'd like to hear the answer.
So sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I'd like to hear the answer to that question. Why should we worship him
Thank
if he
you.
either doesn't care if we die
Thank you
or
very
if
much.
he's not all powerful?
I appreciate your honesty. First point, when we say that God is all powerful, we do not mean that everything that happens is God's will. Why? The all-powerful God chose to limit his power by creating us with a free will. So if I walk up to her, smack her beautiful face, and then turn to you and say, God made me do it, I'm a liar, I'm a con artist. God gave me a hand for a purpose, to respect her and to love her. But because I have a free will, if I choose to abuse this hand, roll it into a fist and send it crashing into her beautiful face, and then have the audacity to say, God made me do it, I'm a liar and I'm a con artist.
Yeah, I have an issue with how you're characterizing moral relativists.
Yep.
It seemed pretty disingenuous saying that, like, there's no basis at all that anything can come around because of cultural norms, when moral relativism could be based within a specific ideal. Probably the biggest thing I can harken back to is as society was forming, with just humans or even Neanderthals or Australopithecines, there was a founding moral there, which would be the good for society, the good for our tribe. Now, that's obviously evolved pretty far from where we're at right now, but to say that a moral relativist can justify Nazi Germany, which a bad one probably could, but just as a bad Christian could inspire the Crusades to go kill a bunch of Arabs, you probably shouldn't be judging it based on just the bad apples, right?
My simple point is, all of my atheist friends are good people. They want to do good, a lot of good. But they have no intellectual foundation for good versus evil. Because if there is no mind prior to the human mind, then it's the human mind that defines good and evil, which means it is relative, which means if this human mind defines good and evil one way, and this human mind contradicts her but defines it another way, she's not right, she's not right, she's not wrong, she's not wrong. If moral relativism is true, it is totally arbitrary, good and evil. It's like, do you prefer broccoli or asparagus? It's a taste, it's a prejudice. Do you prefer murdering people or not murdering people? It's a taste. The reason that you should believe in God is because you know that that's rubbish, and you can't live that way, which is God knocking on the door of your mind saying, wake up and smell the coffee. There are objective moral absolutes, and you know it. Every atheist knows it, every agnostic knows it. But then think, how can there be a moral absolute? The only way is if there is some type of God to create and define it. That's all I've been trying to say.